Pause. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Virtual Health Club. I'm your host, Dr. Millie Lytle, and I want to thank you for joining this veggie workshop. So I'm going to show you today how to eat 10 vegetables in a day. It's pretty easily done, actually, and if you think about vegetables, actually, I have to get everybody to mute. You just don't mind muting yourself. I'm on my phone, so I don't know if I could actually do that.
You mute myself?
Yeah, if you don't mind muting if you're not talking. If you talk, you can unmute yourself, just because there's background noise. Anybody who's in the room, thank you. And so, it's pretty easy to fit 10 veggies into your diet per day, but you do have to focus on it. It doesn't happen by accident. Of course, if you can't eat it all, then you can always cheat a little bit by adding a greens powder, complete greens, which I generally do, not to replace vegetables, but just to kind of boost up more. And so today I'm going to take you through what you can have in terms of preparing vegetables for yourself for every meal, as well as snacks, some things I have prepared in advance. So I'll just show you a few recipes, and if you have any questions, chime in. I think I'll just take you through what the main vegetables that I'm using today. I'll be using avocado. I'll be using tomatoes. I'll be using shiitake mushrooms. I'll be using carrots, garden carrots. And these are all from my Misfits Veggies box this week. I'll be using broccoli, if I didn't show that already, cucumber, cut in half. And these are turnip greens. So there's lots of greens available, especially this time of year. All the green shoots are popping up from the ground. And so it's really easy to come by different types of lettuces. Oh, I am also going to be using romaine lettuce. So we'll see how to make a salad with that. And then I also have some fresh chives, which I'm growing in my window box. And so it's really easy to come by lots of veggies this time of year. So we're going to start with breakfast. I'm just going to clear some of these vegetables away so I have a good surface to work from. And we're going to start with an avocado toast. I pre-made my toast. This is a sprouted wheat toast, so it doesn't actually have any gluten in it. And so I just toasted it. And then next we're going to take an avocado. I just have the avocado. And I don't even put butter on this or anything. You could put butter on it if you wanted to. But basically I just scoop out my avocado, and then I slice it a little bit while it's on the toast. And you can either have it sliced or you can smash it with a fork. Super easy. And of course the avocado, is high in good fats and it moistens the bread. I also like to slice a little bit of cucumber on top of it. You see me chopping. So you're getting already, 1¼ servings of vegetables in this. And then if you wanted to add a little bit of chives, which I definitely do, cut that from my window box. This could be any herb. You could use basil, you could use parsley. You could also use a little bit of raw onion if you wanted. And cucumber, even on its own, is great on toast. If I do just have a cucumber sandwich, then I generally use a little bit of mayo. You could put an egg on this also. You could smash avocado and then add an egg to it and really have a big Decker sandwich. You could also put lettuce on it. And then generally I'll just sprinkle a little bit of salt. This is the baleen salt, which is natural sea salt. Just got a little bit of magnesium in it for you caking. And you could use a little fresh ground pepper or a little pepper. You could put a little paprika on it. And so this is a Thai veggie sandwich. It's beautiful, it's delicious, and highly recommend having it for breakfast. It's a nice alternative to, peanut butter or what normally people are doing for toast, which is also fine. It's just with peanut butter, it's a little hard to incorporate any vegetables. Oh, good morning, Rick. If you don't mind muting yourself, that would be great because your phone's ringing in the background.
Okay, I don't know how to do that, but I'll work on it. Hold on. Can I turn it down, the volume? All right.
Maybe on the bottom left, there's like a mute button.
Okay, hold on. Invite, hello.
Maybe I can mute him.
Yeah, I'm here.
There we go. I can get back to myself. There we go. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me, right? And then I'm good to go. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make a nice soup. So especially now that it's spring, there's lots of fresh vegetables around. I am going to make a gazpacho. Normally the key ingredients in a gazpacho are peppers, cucumbers, and tomatoes. I am gonna do this in my Vitamix. But I'll just show you how I chop it. And I don't have any fresh peppers that you can get in my box, and so I decided not to go out and get some. So I'm going to use a few hot peppers, and so my gazpacho is going to be a little bit spicy. So if you're using a bell pepper, that's absolutely great. Then you would just pull it apart, take the seeds out. In this case, I am just going to kind of rough chop my vegetables. And I don't like gazpacho too oniony, but you could also add a little bit of raw onion. I love gazpacho. You can add some fresh parsley. I'll be adding fresh chives because that's what I have. So in order to fit 10 into your day, it's really about using and maximizing all the vegetables that you have. It's so easy to buy veggies and then just have them in your fridge and then not make use of them. And that's when we start to see everything going bad and yellow, and then we feel like it's a crunch against time that we have to eat those vegetables up, and it's true. And so, in that case, you just want to do it, right? Like seize the moment. But also, we do have to plan to make sure that if we have a fridge full of vegetables, that we're going to be either cooking them every day, and we're certainly going to dedicate ourselves to eating them every day. So you can see in my Vitamix, and you could make gazpacho in a regular blender. You don't need a Vitamix. You could add some avocado if you want. Sorry, Mindy, did you say something? And so, yeah, if you just have even a regular hand mixer, that's enough to chop up some, cucumber because it's pretty watery. You could peel your cucumber, especially if it's not organic, and if you didn't have a good chopper. And a nice cold soup like this is just great. So I'm going to add 2 hot peppers. I think that's plenty. And it's still going to give me that peppery flavor, and yet it's not going to be too hot. Also, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to this. And just a little bit of lemon. You could add lime as well. Now, if I wasn't using hot peppers, I might add a little dash of cayenne. I love cayenne. And so I just cut a lemon in half, and I'm going to squeeze that in my Vitamix. And again, if you like cilantro, you could put cilantro in if you really wanted it to have kind of that Mediterranean flavor. I'm just going to chop some chives in here. And you can see that I'm just like making use of all my vegetables, thinking about my flavors. Add a little bit of water to this as well to make sure that it chops up nice. Add a little bit of salt. I'm just going to blend it away. Maybe I'll mute myself. Hear me. Okay, and so you can see that I have a beautiful soup, actually. And I'm just going to put it in, you can drink gazpacho. You don't need to eat it like a soup. You could pour it like a bit of a smoothie. But really, we know it's a chilled soup. And you could put it in the fridge if you wanted it a little chilled. You could put it in a soup bowl, absolutely, and eat it with a spoon. It's absolutely delicious. It is a bit spicy, but that's because I added 2 hot peppers to it. So traditional recipe does call for a little bit of jalapeno pepper. I used the extra hot ones, and but yeah, it's delicious. So easy, guys. How long did it take me? Like 10 minutes. And you can call that a snack, or you can call that part of lunch if you wanted to have a salad with that, or if you wanted to eat that with, even like a tuna sandwich. And then if you were going to maximize vegetables on a sandwich, then I would definitely top that with, lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and then any sprouts, greens that you might have. I'm going to rinse out my Vitamix. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and chime in. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make lunch. So for lunch, I'm going to start with some romaine lettuce. So we all know romaine lettuce. So I've taken my leaves apart. These are romaine spears. And so romaine makes a really great cup. You can stuff it. You can stuff it with tuna. You can stuff it with any kind of chicken you have, or you can stuff it with avocado and salad mixtures, even noodles. So, or egg salad. So romaine is amazing as a stuff. You can kind of like make a pocket out of it. And so that's what we're going to do with egg. So we've got our romaine spears. And then I've got a boiled egg. This is an heirloom, the heirloom blue boiled egg. It's going to be should be a little bit soft boiled. But however you like your egg. And so I'm just going to take one of these spears of romaine lettuce. And I'm just going to fill up the cup with egg. And then I'm going to add some cucumber to this. And of course, if you wanted to put this on toast, like I already showed you how to do a breakfast, or you could make it a little bit burrito style. You can use blanched collard greens, blanched cabbage leaves, like almost like a stuffed cabbage roll. I'm going to put a few carrots in here. Just spread your egg out. And then you eat it like this. So you could put mayonnaise in this. You could make an egg salad. You could make an egg salad, but I don't even think it needs it. It's just a matter of like eating it like this, and it's almost like a finger food. You could have this for lunch. Eggs, veggies, super delicious. Add some salt and pepper on top, and you are ready to go. Or if you wanted to actually have it as a salad, then you could break all the lettuce leaves apart, just chop up your egg, and then, dress it with some olive oil and lemon juice. And then you end up getting, this is 2 cups of romaine, so that's 2 servings of vegetable. If you're having half a cup or quarter cup of cucumber, and you're getting your protein from your egg. If you wanted to add some olives to it, or some boiled potatoes, and then you make a salad niçoise. So many possibilities as to how you can turn this into a great dinner salad, lunch salad. Okay, so next, I'm going to make some guacamole so we can have it for afternoon snack. And that's something I'm also going to make in my Vitamix. Does anybody have any questions or any comments? I feel like I shut you all out on mute, but I guess you're there. Okay, so guacamole is super simple to make, guys. It's really just a matter of like a couple of ingredients. It's avocado, lemon, and I like to add olives to mine. You could also add capers if you like it tangy. If you just like it fresh, then it's just a matter of having cilantro, avocado, lemon, or lime. You don't even have to put it in the Vitamix. This is something you could absolutely mash as long as your avocados, and they do need to be ripe. You don't want to use unripe avocados. You don't want to use bad avocados. You want to make sure your avocados are good. And so I'm just going to add half a lemon to this. And I'm just going to add actually a little bit of mustard green to give it a little bit of a bite. You could add a little parsley. You could add a little cilantro, depending on your palate and what you have. And then I'm going to add some olives. And so olives are also vegetables. You want to be careful about salt content, obviously. So you only want to have, a few olives if you have a high blood pressure or risk. But olive itself is a vegetable. It does tend to be cured. It's either cured in vinegar or in salt or in lime brine. But olives also are a good source of olive oil. So you can't exactly count it as a serving of vegetable, but it is one of those vegetable condiments similar to capers, different types of pickles, like sauerkraut, for instance, is also a condiment that is a vegetable. It's from vegetable because it's from cabbage.
Dr.
So,
Millie?
yeah.
What's the difference between the black olives and the green olives, other than the color?
Black olives are ripe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so olives are cured. They do go through a process of being cured. And I don't know if you've ever tried a fresh olive. It's absolutely disgusting and unedible. I mean, some people, olives are obviously a palate. Taste, you have to taste for them, which I absolutely love olives. But they go through quite a process of curing with salt and or pickling in order to get soft. But yeah, black olives are ripe and green olives are not. And so I'm just going to blend this up. And this is super fast to just whiz it up. And depending on how you like your guacamole, if you like it chunky or if you like it really smooth. And again, if you have mashed guacamole, if you have ripe avocados, then you can just do it up with a fork. So this is what my guacamole ends up looking like. And you can, of course, eat that with crackers. You can eat it with chips. But in order to maximize veggies, then we want to eat them with carrots. So these are fresh garden carrots. They're just little baby carrots. I've scrubbed them, but I have not peeled them. So I prefer to just keep my skin on. That's absolutely up to you, whether you want to leave skin on or not. Again, you want to scrub them. If they're not organic, then you probably want to peel them. One thing I should mention about the olives, of course, is if they have pits in them, make sure you take the pits out before you add them in. Otherwise, you will get the crunchy mess, the kind you do not want. And so here's your snack. avocado, guacamole, and carrots. And super delicious, good fats. It tastes good. Savory, delicious, creamy, lemony. Again, you could add lime to that if you wanted, so I don't want to crunch in your ear. So I'm just going to put that to the side. You guys know if I'm giving a live cooking demonstration, we're eating the entire time. But since this is over Zoom, you have to maintain some etiquette. Okay, and so the ways that I most often like to prepare vegetables, and I don't like to get too fancy with anything because I just like to do it. Every once in a while, there's like a nice recipe that I want to try. But when it comes to preparing vegetables, I generally like to either boil them, or if it's something green like broccoli, steam it, or I like to saute it kind of in a stir fry. You can use garlic and onions if you have them, or ginger, minced ginger. Sometimes I might put that in a sauce, but really it's the basics. It's sauteing them in olive oil, steaming them in water, making a soup. So I showed you a demonstration of how to make a chilled soup. And you can make chilled soup. I mean, cucumber's a great base to make a chilled soup, and tomato like a gazpacho, but you could also make like, there's fruit soups too. There's like watermelon soup or strawberry soup, cantaloupe soup. So depending on where you are, if you have access to fresh fruits. There's also green gazpachos that don't use tomato, they just use fresh herbs and cucumber. And then you could also use a green juice as a base as well for that. So there's lots of ways to get creative. And so I like soups, and if you don't have a cold soup, then you have a cooked soup. And so if you want to make a soup out of cooked vegetables, it's also super easy. In fact, I've prepared one just to show you how easy it is to have one as an appetizer. This in this pot is a base of, I boiled potatoes and carrots together, and then I added salt and a bay leaf, and then I took the bay leaf out, and then I just blended it up. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like, but it's so easy. If you wanted to have something more savory, then you could, actually, what did I need? If you wanted something more savory, then you could saute some onions first, and then add the sauteed onions to the soup. And then, so in this case, because I only used a base of boiled carrots and potatoes, then I added olive oil. And so you can see this is a pretty, it's a nice orange soup. I did add some ginger, so it's kind of a carrot ginger stew. And basically, it's not too thick. It's a little bit creamy. It's got olive oil in it. And it's really nice. It's super simple. It's just as from boiled root vegetables that were blended up. And again, you could do this in a Braun hand mixer. You could do this in a Ninja. And this is a nice appetizer. You could also just have this as a snack. Sometimes I'll just take a cup of soup as a snack, or even in the evening after I finish my meal. If I ate early, I might have a cup of this, especially in the winter. As we're getting, today it's cold actually, even though it's spring, but just depending on the season. I do also use, I will also use like organic instant soups. Like one of my favorite are these instant seaweed soups. And so, there's different brands, but this is just got dehydrated seaweed and salt and onions and sesame. I got this from the Japanese store, but you can get these from any organic grocery store. And basically, I would just make this and then add some fresh sliced mushrooms. I might saute my shiitake mushrooms, or if I'm using white or button mushrooms, add those, add spring onions, add chives. Just so that I'm having soup as an alternative to tea. We don't always want to be having tea, and if we feel like something warm, then there's different options as to how to do that. Okay, so my last thing is going to be a stir fry. So I'm just going to heat up my pan. and my veggies are washed. And in this stir fry, I'm going to put shiitake mushrooms, broccoli, and mustard greens. I am going to just show you separately how to do the greens, because this is something that I'll always do. And you know, if you cook greens even at the beginning of the day, then you will likely eat them throughout the day. If you've prepared them, then you're thinking about them. You don't have to wait until the evening time if you feel like cooking. I know my friend Mindy's on here, and she's excellent at prepping her meals. All of her meals she preps and kind of pre-cooks. And I think that's an amazing way to do it, just to be organized and to give yourself some, you know, be deliberate about how many vegetables you intend on eating in the day, so that not everything's last minute. Because when we do wait for things to be last minute, we're too hungry, we don't feel like doing it, we just feel like grabbing quickly. Whereas if we're prepared, and you can see how, I mean, I've already prepared how many, 4 different meals of vegetables in about 30 minutes. So it's not that it takes time. Vegetables generally cook fast. Now, the other method that I did not talk about was, roasting, oven roasting. And that's something that I definitely do. And that is something that all you have to do is scrub the vegetables and maybe slice them up, or even in the case of a potato or a turnip or even a beet. And I do like to boil beets also, but if I'm going to roast it, I might just clean it up and then I'll put it in the oven, same as a sweet potato, and then slice it up after. But if I want like that roasted crispiness, then I'll just chop them up, put them in the oven with some olive oil and salt, and then you've got root vegetables. So that's another way that I definitely like to do it. But sauteing is probably, steaming, stovetop, when I'm cooking with lower temperatures is probably my most favorite. Now you can always add onions and add the onions until they're softened. I actually don't have any onions. I didn't order any in my veggie box this week, so I'm trying to stick to just what's coming in my veggie box and not add a whole lot of extra, because it's enough of a challenge. I'm on enough of a challenge to kind of like get through my whole veggie box. So these are shiitake mushrooms. These are a type of immune mushroom. They are a little bit more stiff and need more cooking than like your regular white button mushroom or even your cremini mushroom, the baby portobellos. But I do love medicinal mushrooms. They are so good for your immune system. They have lots of nitrogen in them. They take on the flavor of pretty much anything that you're making. And so because I don't have onion, I'm going to use minced ginger. And this is organic. Watch me have to open it. Sorry. It's only going to happen if I can open it. So, okay, I have to spit that out. Okay, so I'm going to put in my onions because they need, and I'm going to put some olive oil. I don't like to sit with oil in the pan. I like to, because I don't like the oil to cook for too long. I like to cook with the vegetables. And I start with a little bit of high heat, like a stir fry heat, and then I kind of turn it down. And my fan just went on because it's getting hot in here. For the greens, I'm just going to trim them. So I'm just going to trim the ends off, and then I end up with the top. And I'm really just going to slice them. And then I'm just going to add them to the hot pan. I'm going to pour some olive oil over top. Little salt. Little pepper. And whatever spices you want to use is absolutely fine. Sometimes I like to put nutmeg with my greens. And so with my mushrooms and my broccoli, and I also like to do this kind of like a little bit Asian style, like I'll add some Bragg's amino sauce. That's probably what I'll do in this case, especially if I can't open my ginger. Some sesame oil, that gives it a really nice flavor, kind of that Asian flavor. Add some ginger in. This minced ginger, it does have a little bit of rice vinegar and a little bit of cane sugar, so it's kind of sweetened. But it still gives you that spicy. And broccoli I find is really good in the stir fry. It's just like kind of cooks up, kind of brown. My greens are almost done. I just put some salt and pepper on those. I'm going to do the same with my shiitake and broccoli. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of, this is Bragg's Amino. The label's gone, but it kind of tastes like soy sauce, but it's made with a bunch of different vegetables. And then I'll just add a little bit of sesame oil. You don't need very much, just to give it that kind of nutty flavor. And depending on how crunchy you like your vegetables, you know, you can cook your broccoli. Once broccoli goes bright green, then you know that it's got the nutrients that have come out of it. But, you know, you want to maybe cook it depending on how crunchy you like it. And my greens are done. And with greens like this, I like to add a little bit of lemon to it, or sometimes vinegar. Sometimes I tend to add apple cider vinegar to my greens as well. And it just brings out the flavor, brightens it up. And then you've got your greens. Really good. They're a little brown. They're a little crunchy. They're soft. They have a really great flavor. So easy. It took like 5 minutes. Not even. And I'm smelling my broccoli and shiitake mushrooms. And it smells gingery and like sesame. And you know, tonight I'll just like make a piece of fish and I'll have these on the side. The other thing that I really love to do is that I will saute vegetables like this. And then if I want to make my own fresh soup, like if I do have a piece of codfish or something like that, then I'll do everything in a pan, and so that it picks up like, you know, the sauteed flavor and the olive oil, and then I'll add it to a bowl of water. Sometimes I'll put a soup mix in, or sometimes I'll just put like spices. These are black sesame seeds, so I would definitely add black sesame seeds on top of this. And so then you've got yourself like a nice little Chinese style, and there's so many ways to flavor things up. So see if I can get organized here and show you everything that we've made. So starting with our breakfast, we've got our avocado toast with cucumber and some chives on top. Then we've got our morning snack. If you choose, you can have gazpacho soup. Then we've got our lunch. We've got salad spears with boiled egg and a little bit of cucumbers on the side, and you could stuff that with anything. And then we've got our afternoon snack, which is guacamole with olives and some carrot sticks. And then we've got, I'm gonna make some fish tonight, and I've got 2 servings, well, 3 servings of vegetables, shiitake mushrooms, broccoli, and then some turnip greens. And if you wanted the potato on the side of that or a sweet potato, that's absolutely great. And your protein. And this is a day.
Wow.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 2 cups.
When we're coming for dinner.
That's what I was saying.
Come tonight because I got a lot of food. Come right now.
Oh, Millie, oh God.
Okay, any questions, comments?
No, it looks
Nope.
yummy.
Oh, it looks all inviting. It really looks good. So that's another challenge you gave me that I have to try to get my veggies in with. I've never had avocado for whatever reason, but now after seeing this, I'm going to definitely want to try that. I tried the Brussels sprouts, loved it. So
Good.
avocado is next on my list.
That's great.
But the
Avocado. I
toast,
mean, avocados are in season. Yeah.
They go
Go
bad
ahead,
fast.
what?
You have to eat them.
Yeah. Yeah. Once they're ripe and they're soft and they
Yeah.
feel good in your hand, like you give them a good squeeze, then you have to eat them. You can't make good avocado or good smashed avocado toast out of brown avocado. Although, I mean, it will brown if you cut it in half. You use a half of it one day, that's fine. But if you open it up and it's brown, it won't be as tasty. So you do want to use it when they're fresh. I mean, avocado is great. As I talked about last week in the smoothie demonstration, it can really make something creamy. It does cream up a smoothie like a banana. You can add it to so many things. It's buttery. It doesn't have a strong flavor, but it's creamy and fatty, so it's really satisfying. And just even with like salt and cucumber and chives or a guacamole, or even adding it to a gazpacho would be a really great way to eat avocado. You could add it to your lettuce wrap also. The only thing we don't really do with avocado is cook it. I think there are some cultures that cook like green avocado, maybe stir fry green avocado before it's ripe, but and there's some of the South American cultures, but I've never really cooked avocado. So it's always pretty much eaten raw. Great sliced on, you don't have to smash it. You can slice it on the sandwich. You can eat it instead of mayonnaise with tuna. It can be kind of a carrot fat. Yeah, egg, exactly.
So good.
I would have never thought of putting it on toast, but I'm going to try
It's
it.
delicious.
What kind of
on
bread
toast.
was that you used, Dr. Millie?
This is a sprouted wheat toast. So the bakery is, it's called Alvarado Street. And they carry it in my local super, so that's why I take it. They have a whole line of sprouted wheat bread, but you can get Food for Life also is a brand that carries sprouted bread. Manna. If you're like in a Jewish neighborhood, they call it Ezekiel bread, and that's a sprouted bread.
Yeah, because I was looking for the Ezekiel bread.
Yeah,
you
so
had
the
mentioned
Ezekiel
the Ezekiel bread.
right? So the Ezekiel bread is like is another name for sprouted bread. So you just want to, if you're actually being gluten-free, then you want to make sure that they haven't added regular wheat back to it or even gluten to it. But otherwise, sprouted bread on its own is lower in carbohydrate, easier to digest, less calorie, less allergic. And so it's a great option. I find it very satisfying. There are certainly other gluten-free breads that are made with like potato starch, quinoa, brown rice. If you want to try to vary up your bread so that you're not eating so much wheat or eating any wheat. And generally some of those breads are pretty dense, and so they're best toasted. So they don't make like a nice soft sandwich. They're much better toasted with something like avocado on them, so it softens them up a
Does
little
it
bit.
taste like whole wheat, Millie?
Depends on the bread, right? So like gluten-free bread that's made of the potato starch is actually very soft and like chewy, and but if you're getting, and the name of one of the most popular brands of gluten-free bread is kind of escaping me, but it is with a lot of potato starch. But then if it's made out of rice or quinoa, then yeah, it's dense. It's much more dense. It's kind of like a hearty rye bread, which I absolutely love rye bread. Rye bread is gluten. It does have gluten in it, but less gluten than wheat. So, but it's good to experiment with different flavors. Did I answer your question, Mindy? What was your question?
If it tasted like wheat, that's all. I never tried it.
Oh yeah, yeah. They taste. No, they don't. I wouldn't say they exactly taste like wheat. They taste a little different, you know.
Okay.
And it's good to experiment. I mean, there's better ones and not as good ones, but or sourdough. You know, sourdough is a fermented. It's wheat, but it's fermented, so it's also put through a more digestible process. So I do like sourdough as well. But they can do it a cheat way, or they can do it the authentic way. Because you're actually making starter dough, then you have to make a starter, and where it sours over like a few weeks, and then you end up with a starter, which is like a bacterial fermented dough, and then you add wheat to it. So that's a good way to go too, to try out just different kinds of breads. But I do recommend sprouted bread. So happy veggie eating. Report back. Let me
Thank
know
you.
if you fit in your 10.
Millie,
Thanks
thanks.
Okay,
for being
thanks. Have a
here.
great day.
Okay. Have a
Call
great
you
day.
later.
Bye. Okay.